2.10 meta, and the more this is about what has been successful in this series, what has it been that Pain have been winning with, and what has it been that Ace have been struggling to defeat.
I mean, what's open right now is also the Rona. It works very well against the Black Feather, and it's a very strong 2.10 pick, works well with the Arden as well, so they can either go for it or decide to go with something that's a little bit more flexible to play into the B-side advantage.
This is also the Sky being picked up now because I was going to say, if you don't take the Rona, you then worry about maybe Ace Gaming pick it up themselves and run Rona with a Black Feather. But by taking the Sky, that makes the Rona far less appealing for Ace.
Yeah, so with Sky being picked up, Rona is very risky at this point. So I'm wondering if they're going to pick up potentially maybe a Celeste and run the Weapon Black Feather in the jungle here, because playing a Weapon Black Feather into a Sky could be a little risky, but it could work depending on what type of support. So if they pick like a Grace Captain, I think that would be pretty strong, because Black Feather would be very hard to kill. But then go with Baron instead. Wow.
I was going to say the Baron and the Lyra are still open. This plays perfectly back into their strengths. Ace Gaming seems to be a lot more serious in this draft for sure. And with the Baron, the CP, Black Feather, and the Lyra, this is a composition that can siege very well later on in the mid game, as well as just play to the range advantage, kiting away once Kai tries to dive onto the Baron.
There is still potential for Pain to find counters here, take something else that can go onto the Baron, because if they just target down one of these two heroes, dive onto them, and make sure that they cannot get away, they can still find ways to pick up victories in team fights and prevent themselves from getting punished.
Yeah, and those picks would be Reza, Taka, Kashka. You need an assassin. You need someone that can get onto that Baron, because that's what counters Baron. A melee hero that can get onto him, do a lot of burst damage, force him to disengage, and play defensive versus playing offensive, and allow the weapon power Sky to then also jump on the Baron. So let's see if those three picks will come out here for Pain and play CP jungle and a weapon Sky lane.
You also just need that mobility so that you can chase onto either the Black Feather or the Baron, and it is going to be Taka coming through for Pain Gaming. I love this draft they have put together by both sides, really. These are two incredible drafts, and it is going to be an amazing matchup.
Yeah, this is going to be one heck of a game to watch. Tassa going to be this Pain Gaming going to be locking in that Taka in the end. That is a pick that we don't see all too often. It's a very specific pick. It's something that you pick into certain scenarios. Is it going to work in this game, though? Is it going to be enough to shut down this Baron?
I mean, honestly, as long as they get to mid-game without Taka falling too far behind a Black Feather, Baron doesn't have too many peeling tools on the side of Ace Gaming. The only thing he has is the Bulwark and the Sigil from Lyra. Black Feather doesn't provide anything, so if Taka gets on top of the Baron with the Mortal Wound that comes out from the Extractor as well, he can easily take him down with Sky following up with the damage.
And not only that, but you say if he can get to the mid-game, he has all the tools set up to get to the mid-game with an advantage, because Black Feather's clear speed is not that great, whereas Taka, with the extra movement speed he gets from his heroic perk, can clear through the jungle very, very quickly and get onto the enemy side and try and start stealing camps away.
I think Pain has a very strong mid-game. Taka level 6 is going to put so much pressure onto the lane against Baron, but however, late-game Lyra, the amount of heal that she's going to give, that's going to counter the burst damage from Taka and allow Baron to survive long enough to do a lot of damage. And then with CP Black Feather too, he scales really well into the late game, and Tassa is amazing on CP Black Feather. So let's hope I'm right with this time with this prediction. I'm going to go with Ace Gaming.
All right, well, before we jump on into the predictions, we are just solving a couple of quick little technical hiccups on the stage, so we should be with the game very shortly. Guys, if we do, in fact, I believe the game is actually ready. The hiccups have already been solved. So very quickly, I want to ask for your predictions. You've already said Ace Gaming coming this one through?
Yes.
Tasty Bacon.
I'm jumping on the bandwagon. Let's go with the Pain train.
This time around, I'm going to go with Ace Gaming just because this is a strategy they've played a lot of in EA. Just protect the Barons, scale to the late game, then play around them.
All right, we'll see if that can come to pass. It's time to pass it over to our casters once again. Medic and Denominate, please take away Game 4 of this quarterfinal.
Thank you very much, Munch. And what a game it's likely to be. I just want to say, Iraqi Zoro, you disappoint me. You flip-flopper on the desk. Could have just stuck with the Pain train, you never know. Probably going to take this one 3-1. It's an exciting game. We've got a Taka in it. That always makes me happy.
Yeah, I might actually lean a little bit towards Iraqi Zoro's decision on this one. I think the draft that Ace have put together here is incredibly strong.
I don't think the crowd agrees with you, Denominate.
That's fine.
Crowd are all aboard that
Maybe
Pain
the crowd will
hype
prove me
train.
wrong. Maybe Pain will prove me wrong and take 3-1 over Ace and eliminate East Asia from the Vainglory Worlds in both the group stages and the quarterfinals respectively for Rox and Ace.
It would be incredible if East Asia, the reigning world champions, were eliminated in this quarterfinal stage, and if Brazil could get all the way to the semifinals. We're going to find out if that's going to be the case. It's 2-1 in favor of Pain Gaming, and we are on to the Halcyon Fold.
Yeah, I'd love to see Pain come through big here again. They did come to Worlds last year, weren't able to find a whole lot of success, but man, have they made a name for themselves this time around. Obviously, last year it was under Red Canids. Now, Pain Gaming, and they're bringing the pain consistently against Ace here.
Starting up the Elder Treant early on as well, forcing Youngju off, and you can hear the Singaporean crowd have already seen Impunity have an upset earlier on. They want another one. They want Pain Gaming to take this 3-1, and what an upset it would be. There's almost an air of tension on the Halcyon Fold, almost this fog of disbelief that has come over a lot of us, seeing Ace Gaming fall so far behind Pain in the first 3 games of this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Pain do have a reasonable draft. It's just a little bit hard to execute on, specifically looking at the fact that it's a Taka and an Arden into this Lyra. Lyra can make it very difficult for all 3 heroes on Pain Gaming. You can restrict the movement that the Sky has. You can actually block out the abilities that Taka has, as well as the Gauntlet coming out of Arden. That Bright Bulwark so useful at stopping that additional momentum, and that can provide a lot of time for this Blackfeather and Baron to ramp up their damage. A lot of burst. If Pain Gaming can survive through it, they might be able to shut them down.
Pain Gaming looking to survive through the Ace Gaming onslaught. We have seen them fall very rapidly before, but the last 2 games have been absolutely indomitable stuff from them. It's interesting to see the way that Ace Gaming's attitude has changed throughout the series as well. Up until this game, they were very jocular. They were laughing before picks and bans. They were laughing after the games as well, but you could see how serious they were coming into this matchup. Tassa's going to push forward a little bit here as Falcon Dorian's going to find him out. Blackfeather needs to get away. He doesn't have the Rose offensive, and Falcon Dorian's putting a lot of damage down, waiting for the next kite, and it's up in a second. Tassa trying to get his way away to get the shield from the on point, but here comes the Vanguard. The healing with the Imperial Sigil will be able to keep him alive for the time being. But that is a statement of intent from Falcon Dorian. Hasn't been the biggest impact in the first 3 games. This game, he wants to put his mark on Worlds.
Yeah, the past couple games were definitely all about the muster train there. I mean, that Vox and Grace combination, he literally just took control of every single fight. His ability to get in and out and stick away, or just keep a little bit away from the damage. And then once those breaking point stacks ramped up, turned around. But now, Muster, they're looking for another Treant. They're looking for another edge here over Ace Gaming.
And they get it as well. We always talk about the rotations from the East Asian teams. We always said Ace are great at objectives, they're great at macro play. Well, it's Pain who are getting the early objectives. It's Pain who are taking these incremental advantages. Still pretty even in this game, but that is a good sign if you're a Brazilian fan, with the rest of the matchup yet to come. And we've talked a lot about Ace looking, for this burst composition, this heavy damage from the Baron and from the Blackfeather. What is it exactly that Pain are going to be trying to do in this early game to overcome that damage from Ace?
Well, because Pain Gaming's composition relies so much on their movement, the Taka wanting to get in and out of the fight, the Sky wanting to dance around the edge, it's going to be all about trying to bait out that Bright Bulwark from Youngju. And then once that ability is used, you wait for it to drop, try to make a good engage. We'll see some more treads later on. And that's where they're going to see those windows of opportunity, because the cooldown time on that Bulwark is pretty long in comparison to some of the other abilities that are ready to go.
We'll have to wait and see exactly how Youngju uses the Bulwark. He had a bit of an itchy trigger finger in game 3 with those Crucibles. We saw a couple of them mistimed by him. And now he is the be-all and end-all, you feel, for some of these Ace Gaming team fights. Very cagey early on here. Both teams sensing the gravity of the occasion, and Pain Gaming are the ones to go aggressive, but they will be forced back. Those Porcupine Mortars have a bit of a sting in the tail. Creation doing a lot of work on this Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Falcon Dorian might be looking to rotate down here instead. He's going to find some damage on the Youngju. Nothing major, but, you know, just kind of being a nuisance like a Taka should be, right? So Ace, they are going to be able to go ahead and get their backs together, both Creation and Tassa. So again, trying to get this Baron to the late game, trying to get him to that point that he can be the hyper carry that we once knew him to be. But if Pain are able to take an advantage early, if they're able to find a fight or a first objective, as long as they're not losing the early game to Baron, then there's definitely an opportunity through the mid game where this Taka is going to spike at level 8 that they can really start to have their fun.
And a lot of them, they seem to be having such elation on their faces after game 3. Aftershock finished onto Falcon Dorian now. We've got the Fountain on Jesuino Ferrer as well. That is answered by Youngju. There's an Aftershock on Tassa, basically identical builds across the board. Pain are going to force Ace away from this turret, the X-Retsu in, looking for the damage down on towards that Lyra, but Falcon Dorian takes about half his HP in return. It's interesting, the target selection in these fights. Do you take out the Lyra to get rid of that healing? Do you try and get rid of the Black Feather or the Baron early on to reduce the extra damage in the fight? At the moment, they're going for Tassa. X-Retsu, there's the first blood. Pain Gaming, unstoppable at the moment. They could look for even a little bit more. Here's Creation and Youngju on that Imperial Sigil. You can see Falcon Dorian. He's dancing, he's thinking, he's wondering, can I go in once again? Can I X-Retsu and cause one of these Ace members to die? But they can't quite find the engage they want.
Yeah, the respawn timer's still pretty low. It would have been probably pretty risky. If you overcommit, take a couple turret shots, all of a sudden Blackfeather, who's a very quick hero, thanks to the several gap closures, the Faint of Heart, the on point is actually gives you that slow as well. Then you've got the Rose offensive charges. You know, just it might be a little too risky. Your turret's already low. Giving up a kill could really swing the favor over to this Baron. And again, it's all about keeping this Baron down as long as you possibly can.
Have to see if Pain are able to do that. A slight advantage for them. Coming up towards the 7-minute mark, they are about 700 gold ahead. A little bit of chip damage onto the turret, but Ace have done a lot more DPS onto the turret of their own. So if they can find a good push, maybe with a minion candy, we've seen them do it before. Or maybe they just wait out this game. They say, we don't mind getting later on. We don't mind it if you take a turret, take a kill here or there, as long as you don't get an insurmountable lead. We will come back in the late game and we will hit you with an iron fist and a mortar from Creation. There's the iron cannon to clear out the wave as well. They are just trying to delay this game.
Yeah, definitely. And Sir Muster looking to rotate down to the shop. He wants to pick up that Poison Shiv, which is going to be his next tier 3 item. And it's important because it needs to shut down some of that healing that comes out of Lyra. Not only does Lyra have the Fountain, as all captains, you know, will eventually have at some point, she also gets that healing from her Imperial Sigil that scales with bonus health, and we see that Dragon Heart as well as the Fountain in inventory. So cutting down the usefulness of that Lyra could be the difference maker.
It looks like Pain are trying to draw a fight in. They go in with the gauntlet, and already they've taken out the Baron. That's a good way to shut him down. They're looking for a little bit more as they chase into the jungle of Ace. But they realize a kill and a gold miner, if they can secure it, or a kill and a turret, is exactly what they want. They were stood on a scout trap, perhaps hoping that Ace would overextend, looking to try and stop up this gold mine. But Falcon Dorian is a little bit on his own here. Can't get over eager, Mr. Falcon, if you want to win out this fight. Doing a great job of dodging around, getting the Mortal Wounds down onto the Black Feather as well, but he takes a massive chunk in response. The turret's going to go down. Good distraction from Pain Gaming. They get a turret, and they lose only 1 kill. Didn't get the gold mine there, but still a good trade for them. Now they need to get out. Muster doesn't really want to. He goes in with a Suri Strike, but forced back by Ace.
Yeah, that was really perfectly played by Dorian, actually. As you mentioned, it was a great distraction. Meanwhile, we got another fight breaking out.
Fights continue to erupt. Muster trying to keep himself alive, but Ace were able to take him down, and now they can look for a turret of their own off this push. Falcon Dorian's running up the lane, but it looks like Ace are going to decide against the turret and go down towards their jungle instead.
Yeah, definitely going to take an opportunity to get through the jungle, get an opportunity to shop. This Baron's only sitting on 2 items right now, and by the time they clear out this gold here in the back, he's going to be sitting over 1,400 gold, and that's a lot of gold to be sitting in your pocket. That does not help you if a fight were to break out, so he'll likely be looking for another lucky strike, that tier 2 crit. There it is right there, as well as Tassa. He's got a bit of gold in his pocket. It looks like he's going towards that Broken Myth for the 2nd item, and that's going to give him that additional pierce and make the on point just all that more threatening.
Jesuino Ferrer has been flashing those charms since game 2, and it's
Rightfully so.
Yeah, it seems to be working for them. They've won every game he's done it in, so maybe it's their lucky charm. Pain Gaming still sitting very even in this game, but I wonder if perhaps that window is closing on them. We talked about the power spike they have with the overdrive Titan. There comes the Gauntlet as well. Falcon Dorian jumps in with the extra Retsu, but Muster is quite low. Vanguard going down. Falcon Dorian takes a chunk in response. Ace Gaming starting to win out some of these trades. You have a Baron sitting at 2.5 items. You've got Tassa there as well with the Aftershock and with the coat of plates for a little bit more tankiness into this Pain Gaming lineup.
Yeah, Tassa trying to get some of those on points to land on the Sir Muster. Hasn't been able to get too many of them yet, but he's definitely looking.
Searching, trying to find an avenue of invention, an avenue to go in. The X-Retsu, there's the Fountain. It was actually the Chitin, sorry. It's Falcon Dorian. Did get chunked out, but the Fountain heals him back up. Now it's Jesuino Ferrer. He has a blinking health bar as he's down to about 1,200 HP. There's still a Fountain available for Youngju as well. We've seen Ace dive turrets before and it hasn't worked out for them. That's how Pain Gaming started to win the last game, but instead Ace just decided to get the objective. They take down the turret and with it they have an ever so tiny gold lead. Whoa, that was a crit. Muster needs to get away. Get the hell out of there, Muster, because otherwise Ace are going to chase you in. There's the Arcane Passage. Has Youngju overextended because the healing Triad is on Muster. Takes the passage back. Youngju trying to heal himself back up with the Sigil and will have just enough. This game is on a knife edge, Denominate, and bit by bit, Ace are sharpening their swords. They're getting these items. They're building up Creation. And it can only be a matter of time. 3 items now on Creation. Double Tyrants and the Sorrow Blade.
Yeah, Sir Muster, you know, with the healing flask that he was able to use as well as picking up that Treant, they were able to heal him back up to full. He didn't hit the back. He only made it out on a sliver of health, you know, almost by luck, but they are able to make it on out. Falcon Dorian has the Aftershock and the Clockwork complete, so he'll be able to get around the fight a little bit easier. His cooldowns are going to come up a little bit quicker, and in that case, because your abilities are coming up quicker, you're able to get that Aftershock proc off a little bit more frequently in these fights as well, giving you a bit more damage.
It seems very important that Ace Gaming are able to track that Taka. Flares have just been picked up by Youngju to try and catch him out in the fight. There's the Gauntlet, they go in for the re-engage. The Bright Bulwark comes down, the stealth, but look at the damage on towards Falcon Dorian. Doesn't really have a lot of armor yet, just sitting on the light armor. No coda plates for him, and another crit coming out. There's the first kill, X-Retsu goes down, but already the double for Creation, and this is exactly what Ace wanted. Pain get destroyed, and Ace get 3 kills for their own.
Yeah, they do. They're up 5-2. Pretty slow game as far as the kills go. We're only 12.5 minutes in, but it's looking to be a gold miner for Ace. It's looking to be that second turret for Ace. Let's get into that replay because this one's a fun one to watch. The Baron damage is coming through so strong here. 542 damage, 542 damage. Taka is so low, and then watch as Sir Muster is looking to escape. That splash damage from the second shot actually gets down on Falcon Dorian as well, and then it's only a matter of time. The rocket launcher from this Baron with the Sorrow Blade double monocle build is just so devastating if you group up that way.
It's the power of the jump jets as well, getting those 2 auto attacks off incredibly quickly after you use that ability. And now we start to see Ace really coming into their own this game. You have to remember how important this game is for them. If they lose it, they are out of the World Championships, and what a state of affairs that would be for the East Asian region to have everyone eliminated before we even get to the semi-finals. One of the favorites for the tournament now showing us just how try-hard they can be, just how devastating they can be if they get their hands on a game.
Yeah, Creation's already gone into the Journey Boots, so he knows that the enemy has that mobility, and because of... Oh, hold on here.
Used. Iron Cannon as well. I think Pain have realized that if they miss with that Gauntlet, they do just have to back away, because otherwise they are running straight into the brick wall of Creation.
Yeah, you know, just to touch on those Journey Boots, when you do damage an enemy, that will refresh the cooldown down from 60 seconds to 12. So for a Baron who wants to get away from this Taka, wants to get away from the sky, that is a useful tool that they can definitely use to their advantage, and beautiful Bright Bulwark timing there.
Just incredible stuff here from Youngju. We said he needed to show up in this game, has had a few slips in the previous 2, and he is looking incredibly strong thus far. Could even be building up towards an Echo for double Bright Bulwarks. That would be incredibly devastating for Pain because they just won't have a way into the fights. They just won't be able to find those paths to victory. Ace Gaming looking so strong thus far in this matchup, and Pain just don't seem to be able to find the key that unlocks the semi-finals.
Yeah, not at all. And, looking over at Creation's build, he is still hanging on to this flask, as well as, 5 members of this game have a flask still in their pocket. I'd expect the next time he uses that will be the time that when he makes it to shop, he'll sell it off. And I'm interested to see, does he go into more damage, or does he get some shielding for this Taka? Kind of a little early to tell. I think there's viability for either way. There's not a whole lot he has to worry about blocking as far as crowd control goes, because he can jump jets out of that gauntlet.
Triple shot with the auto there. That splash damage doing a lot of work. Pain Gaming seem a little bit desperate as they go in for the engage. Here's the gauntlet. They do get the stun onto the Baron, but do they have health? They do not. Muster's the one to fall first. And now Falcon Dorian's trying to dodge his way around the side of the fight. He wants Creation, but he has to kite in across back onto Tassa. X-Retsu back in, but half his health just disintegrates in an instant, and Ace will take 2 kills.
Yeah, Ace take 2 kills. We're 15 minutes in the game as well, 15 and a half minutes. That's really one of the worst times you can lose out on a fight. So shy of a miracle coming out of Jesuina Farah, this should easily be a free Kraken going over to Ace Gaming. They only have 3 turrets between them and a victory. They've been winning the past couple fights very convincingly, and now Creation, he has gone ahead and used that healing flask. So again, this is going to be the time he sells it. I think he just goes into more damage, possibly some piercing. There it is, the piercing spear, and that's going to help deal with the metal jacket complete by Falcon Dorian, as well as the coat of plates that is built here on Sir Muster. And I think Ace Gaming, they're just looking to close this one out on 1 Kraken push.
Yeah, not willing to be eliminated quite yet. We're going to go all the way to Game 5. It feels like Pain Gaming still have something to say about it as they try and defend with the Kraken push, but Ace, so close to those completed builds, are looking absolutely dominant in this matchup. Death from above, locking out that choke point, but the Iron Cannon's going to come down and chunk out the turret. The crit's coming out as well. Falcon Dorian falling lower and lower. The Kraken hasn't even taken half its health yet as Ace continue to push in. We've seen this story as Pain won the last 2 games off a Kraken push. Ace trying to do the same here. The X-Retsu used on the Kraken. There's a death from above, but it's not right in the right position. The Gauntlet coming out as well as Pain Gaming try and defend, but the Kraken still pushes in. X-Retsu on the back line. The slow with the Atlas. Can they get on towards this Baron? They're trying to, but Muster just can't muster up the damage, and the Baron still survives. X-Retsu jump jets away. Kraken pushing in. You have to feel that this is it for Pain. Ace Gaming should be able to equalize the series. The Kraken pushing in, the Crystal going low. Ace Gaming are going to take us all the way to Game 5.
Yeah, it's been a wild roller coaster here on the Halcyon Fold. Again, this team that I don't think anybody really expected to have